to him is our regional coordinator of elections in Johannesburg, Umam Pumla Mandlunkomo, who's also an MPL in Gauteng. Thank you very much. We have now came to the beginning of our meeting. So this is our manifesto town hall community meeting. So we said we should come here and speak to you on a much smaller rooms, because the EFF is being filling up everywhere. There's no stadium we have not filled in South Africa. All of it. FNB, you can name it. So we said we must get a person-to-person interaction with our people so that we are able to get to expose our election manifesto, and you guys can have a say about it and directly engage with the President and Commander-in-Chief. So the President today is going to be presenting the EFF manifesto, and after that we are going to take questions and interactions, and he's going to sit down and come back and respond to those questions. So welcome. We are here in Midrand, Ward 112, where we have produced a PR councillor of the EFF. So this is one of the branches where the EFF has been growing, and we appreciate that. So without any waste of time, I'm now going to bring the convener of all elections in Gauteng, a member of the Central Command team, and also the War Council of the EFF, Commissar Dr. Mdlozi, to bring the Commander-in-Chief.
Hello everyone, people of Midrand, how are you? Very intimidating people with your English and qualifications. Marvutile le rona re atla re lekitiste matso. Very, very nice indeed to have all of you here. I invite you to relax. The town hall meetings are really in the main about engagement. And so without any waste of time, I'm going to request that you join me to welcome the Commander-in-Chief, Julius Malema of the EFF.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Mbuiseni Ndlozi. I never thought Mbuiseni Ndlozi get intimidated until we arrived in Midrand. And I know where your fear comes from. That's the problem with the township and the suburbs. So when you go to the suburbs, you like, there's an upper class, so I don't belong to that level. Let me greet our leaders, provincial secretary, the branch leadership, the regional coordinator, and all leaders who are here, including Dr. Ndlozi, who's responsible for elections in Gauteng. We've got a by-election in Polokwane, Ward 10. A councillor of the EFF was arrested with weapons that were stolen from government offices. And when we asked him what happened, he said he was a traditional healer. So these people brought the weapons to him to cleanse them and cleanse these criminals. And unfortunately, he was found with those weapons. We don't believe the story. So we went to visit him, in jail. And he explained the story. After he explained the story, we gave him a resignation letter to sign. Because in the EFF, we harbor no criminals. And that's why we have a by-election tomorrow. So that was our word, and many people were saying, no, we can't do that now. What if we lose it on all of that? will rather lose the word than to accommodate criminals. Because you must always know that you are amongst men and women of integrity who do not violate the laws of the Republic of South Africa. So I was asking him to go and speak tomorrow at what 10 in Polokwane. He refused. He says no, he's working in Gauteng because tomorrow he's got a meeting in Lodiam. The reason why I was sending him is because the ANC is sending Paul Mashatile tomorrow. So I thought, who's the match of Paul Mashatile? And then I thought, Dr. Ndlozi was the most appropriate person to counter Paul Mashatile. We're happy to be here, and as you know, it's not a very easy period for us to sit in one place for too long. We're here for a very few hours, and then we'll be joining an activity in the Santen Convention Center, which celebrate Colin Mashawane's foundation. It's now turning 11 years. And this morning we're in Nabong. It's now called Mokopong. So when we got an opportunity to come and speak to the people of Midrand, we're excited because you are the most influential people. That seated here are people who are not only influential in their families in Midrand, that their opinions matters even where they come from. Because majority of them are breadwinners. You all know that our population lives in extreme poverty. That 29% of our people live in extreme poverty. They are surviving through social grants. But South Africa as a whole pays 18.8 million grants. And that constitutes 31% of the population. So you have a situation where 31% of the population receives grants, is on grants. And those who receive grants live on extreme poverty. So, and the extreme poverty, you know, is extreme in a sense that a person lives below 41 rand or 42 rand per day. That's what extreme poverty means. 31% of the population of South Africa lives on less than 42 rands per day. And we cannot sit back and allow the situation to perpetuate. We have a responsibility to rescue our country. And when we launched this organization in 2013, the aim has been very simple. We need to upset the status quo and introduce a new alternative, because in any way, the ANC is going to self-destruct like all liberation movement in the African continent after 30 years in power. So when the ANC self-destruct, there must be a viable alternative which is going to fight for this 31% of our people who live in extreme poverty. And there is no immediate intention to resolve this crisis of extreme poverty because someone benefits from that extreme poverty. So we must be worried that our people are living in conditions that are not sustainable, especially for us who stay in Midrand. Because when these 38.8 million people revolt against the status quo, they are also going to come for us. They will come for us twice, because they will say we sold them out. That we arrived, and when we were comfortable, we forgot where we come from. And we did not take any steps to resolve their problems. Anarchy is the highest form of disorder. And when that anarchy erupts in South Africa, anyone who owns BMW, Mercedes-Benz, or anything of that sort will not enter the township. Because everybody else who's got an asset that suggests you are part of the elite which has betrayed the revolution, you are going to be a target for assault. So we need to resolve this. And the EFF is the tool that can resolve this problem that is confronted by many of us. People go around saying, no, why is the EFF talking about borders? Why is EFF talking about borderless continent? But there's an issue we raised which they are not bothered to follow up before we go to the borders, which is an apartheid debt. That in 1993, it was reported that we were owing the apartheid debt 25 billion US dollars. Now, what was this money used for? This is the money that was used to buy weapons. If you remember, and Comrade Carl Niehaus will know that much better than all of us because he was in the struggle against apartheid. There were trucks that carried weapons, military trucks that carried weapons into KZN. And those weapons were procured with this apartheid debt. The aim of those weapons was to kill the people of South Africa. We defeated apartheid in 1994 politically. We also managed to get the UN to declare apartheid crime against humanity. Which means everything else that came with apartheid is unjustifiable and therefore have to be dismantled. They allowed us to dismantle the parliament, to remove the president, to remove ministers, to remove anything that symbolizes apartheid. But they never allowed us to cancel the apartheid debt. Because for generations, we must be indebted to international financial institutions. We now are owing almost 573 billion, which we are servicing, and that includes the apartheid debt. So if you minus the apartheid debt to our foreign debt, then we save a lot of money which can be used in our social responsibility programs. The immediate thing we are going to do when we take over government is to demand that the International Court of Justice should declare the apartheid debt invalid, because you can't pay for people who are coming to kill you. It's unreasonable, it's unthinkable, and we're being made to carry responsibility that is not ours. We have a duty to make sure that we deliver the land into the hands of the people. And the only representative of the people is the state. The money you have in your pockets is not owned by you, it's owned by the state, it's printed by the state. You can trust the state with a responsibility of printing money for you. But you can't trust the state to own the land on behalf of all of us. You can trust the Meyer family here in Midrand at Waterfall to lease land to you for 100 years. 99 years lease, and your children will not even inherit it when you die. You are so prepared to do that with a private Indian family. You rent from them the land and build huge houses. When we say let's do the same, but through the state, you say no, who's going to invest in that? You have already invested in a private owned land. You have a sectional title deed. You have no title deed. You have no reason to even join the struggle to demand title deeds. You want to have. What are you saying? He wants to take our title deed. Which one? You don't have. So, we give the land to the state, but no one loses anything, including the white minority. Where you stay is declared a place of residence for Mr. Malema. Where you farm, it's a farm of so and so, this company or that company. So that we account for all of the land. Once we do that, we're going to find a lot of unaccounted for pieces of land. Once we discover that, then we give the landless that land. You cannot give people what you don't own or have. So the state has got a duty to give our people land. Because without land, you are nothing. There is nothing that we can do without land. That's why we've been in power for 30 years. We've not made inroad. We could not even produce black middle class. We cannot proudly say Midrand is black middle class. And all. It's not true. Our people are swimming in debt. And the high interest rates and the amount we pay for fuel and all just makes things worse for the so-called black middle class. The ANC is upset even what was potentially a black middle class. Because you don't have the land. And we just need simple historical checkpoint where we say, what did the Boers do when they came into South Africa first? Because they didn't do anything else. They just took the land. And they knew once they have the land, no one can tell them anything. Engaged in wars of dispossession, precisely for the land. Not this thing that you are doing with Zimbabweans and Nigerians. There's an artificial war. What's wrong? What are you fighting about? They are taking our women. They didn't take women, the whites. When they came here, they didn't take women. They took the land. They knew the land comes with women, with cattle, with... There's no one who owns who doesn't have a woman. The people who don't have women is people who find on the street because they don't own. Ownership and women go together. They must own. Women are not going to be subjects of poverty. So we have to take the land and give to them too. That men should not claim that they are the only rightful people who can work the land. Because the small garden in our houses, it's not you who do that garden, vegetable garden. It is the woman. I've been asked myself, hey chief, you need to allocate a portion here because I need to start my vegetable garden. It has never dawned in me that I must do a vegetable. They know that this is the land which must be used. And we have to give it to women. We have to give it to the youth. And make sure that they use the land to benefit the people of South Africa and the world. The land comes with everything that is on the land. That includes the sea that is allocated to the side of South Africa. It belongs to us. We need to take the sea and give our colored communities and African people in the Western Cape, in all coastal provinces, the fishing rights. Because fishing is a big business, especially in China. Once we give our people fishing rights as a result of land ownership, you already have a market which is centered in China, and it constitutes the 15%, a quarter of the world population. We're not saying we're not doing business with outside people. Instead of Chinese and Germans and whoever coming to fish here, we must fish ourselves and sell to them. It can't be the other way around. That they fish, go process the fish. Fishy ibola ga speed. Maramo, it gets taken here, gets processed there, and come back here. Something that we could eat fresh. We're being made to think it's impossible. Why is there no factory of tomato sauce in Limpopo? When the biggest producers of tomato, they're in Limpopo, ZZ2. Every day on the N1 you see a truck written ZZ2. As that truck moves, you must know inside that truck is work, is jobs for people of Limpopo being moved out of Limpopo. That's why you came here to follow those tomatoes. You've got them there. You leave them to go, and then you go after them to go and work in a tomato sauce factory. Which you could, ZZ2, if he loved our people and loved the province of Limpopo, why is he not opening a factory in Limpopo and create both local economic activity and employment for the people of Limpopo? Why is chrome being transported to Richards Bay? Today, everything else in South Africa can never be built without steel. Which means you've got a market for steel. Not only in South Africa, in the whole of African continent. The biggest factory of steel in Witbank closed down in a country where steel is in demand. Why? Because we ship out our chrome, it gets processed, produce steel in China, bring it back here, and the Chinese come sell it cheaper than our own factories because they too, whatever they use, get it from outside. Why can't we beneficiate our own mineral resources in South Africa? This Johannesburg is actually a desert. If you go and check, it's a place where there's too much water. And that's why there was never a preferred choice of settlement, even for settlers. There was never a preferred place where human beings must settle. It became what it became after the discovery of gold. That's what made Johannesburg. So cities are made either by natural resources or mineral resources. There's nothing so special about Cape Town. It's too racist. But it is beautiful because it is made because of its natural resources. Table Mountain, the sea. That's what makes it, this can be a proper place of settlement. The other one is the discovery of minerals. That's another place where, because people are going to work on that mineral, they must settle there. That's what made Johannesburg. If cities are made by minerals and natural resources, why is Rustenburg, the discovery of platinum, not made Rustenburg a new Johannesburg? Because Gauteng is made by gold. Why is Rustenburg not made by platinum? Why? You must go to Skukuni, Groblersdal. Groblersdal and Begersfort, you can confuse. Ela di mine. Begersfort. From Polokwane to Mpumalanga, when you pass, you must go and look at the type of houses people have built in those rural areas. Why? Chrome is such a profitable and easily accessible in Begersfort. To an extent that it's mined by gogos. They mine it and pile it behind their houses. When you ask them, why are you doing this? They say, no, one day someone is going to come looking for this. They are not lying. And they are being called illegal miners. And Samanco doesn't allow them to touch any piece of land, they go by force. They are mining with TLB. Not excavators, TLB. That's how accessible that mineral is. Without the state intervention, people are mining there, getting money, building themselves beautiful houses. They are turning that into a beautiful city, but it will never be a city until the state takes a deliberate decision that this is a special economic zone and we're going to create a beautiful city out of the discovery of chrome. There's nothing that can stop any place that has got minerals. We are number one, by the way, in the whole world with platinum. And when we take Zimbabwean platinum, we're worse. The rest of the remaining platinum outside us and Zimbabwe, majority of it is found in Russia. How can we and Russia not become friends and determine the price of platinum? Our price is being determined by people who don't have platinum. But we've got platinum. All of that must not be spoken about because we are going to scare investors. It's not true. Investors look at your laws, your rules, the stability, security, and all of that like, how can we make money out of this? They even make money out of sponsoring instability of DRC. They go and buy blood diamonds. In a war-torn countries, investors still go in there, build a landing strip in a forest, and then make that country not to be functional so that they go and land and take what is there and leave. So why do you want to speak about investors as if it's some high moral people? They are so immoral because their priority is not human beings, it's profit at all cost. So let the land bring all of this to us. There will never be jobs if the patterns of property ownership in South Africa are not tilted to the benefit of all. The ownership of property, look at Soweto. Is Soweto's house today is not less than 500,000. Why? Because they discovered that with democracy, everybody is equal. So which means these houses of Soweto are now going to be an asset that can be used for borrowing and all of that, which means these people will own property. So what do? You make sure that you inflate the market so that they don't afford. Everybody has got a right to buy the house. But where is the money to buy the house? So they use the money to keep the racism in the property ownership of South Africa. Cape Town is being auctioned today, every day, through selling houses in Cape Town to foreign markets exclusively. If you want to buy a house in Cape Town, you have to find someone in the UK to say, no, this is me, and then they list them, then they say, come and bid. Before you know it, there will not be a single house in Cape Town owned by South Africans. Extremely expensive. Something has to be done. And that's why they are opposed to the ownership of the land. Here in Botswana, they give the Botswana people 50%, Botswana state 50% of profits of diamonds by the BS. The BS, it's this guy who owns South Africa, Oppenheimer. Now, they give Botswana government, state, 50%. Say, no, take. And then they come this side. We say, we're asking for 50%. They say, where? How? You're going to scare investors. But the investor is not scared in Botswana. But when it comes to South Africa, the investor is scared. It's not because the investor is scared. It is because South Africa was sold during the negotiations in Cortes. When we were negotiating for our freedom, when Chris was fighting against the disbandment of Mkhonto Wesizwe, Cyril Ramaphosa and them were already in discussion for shares with Vodafone in UK during the negotiations. And this were told by him, by the way. And they said to Vodafone, if you come in here through these apartheid agents, we are going to finish you when we take over. We are the future of this country. Give us. They can't give you 50% because that 50% is given to your leaders. It's given to individuals. And I'm telling you, these guys are going to be the richest. Why? When they were given the shares in 1994, they said, you don't have money, we'll give you. But every time a dividend is declared, you pay us through that dividend until you finish. The information now is they finish paying that debt. 30 years of democracy means the finishing off of paying the debt of the shares that were given to them. Oh, the money is just going to go into the hands of individuals. There is no ANC elite that I know now who hasn't received dividends. All of them. Any one of the ANC who was in business then, and Nokarwawanyana, so go and check all of them now. All of them are back in the game. Why? The dividends are now being paid fully because they finished paying the debt. You cannot, DBS is not refusing to give you 50%. When Ramaphosa says, but the state must get 50%, but no problem, we take from you. This one that you have, we take it and then deliver it to the state, and we take it from Matozoma, deliver here, take from Patrice, back to the state. Done. But you're not talking properly. Let's leave it, we'll come back to it. So, we were sold out by our leaders. That's why you need a new government to review all these big black economic empowerment deals, how they came about, and who are the participants. If people were given on the basis of their ANC membership, this must be expropriated to the state. We are not taking from this individual. We are taking and giving to the state. You are a beneficiary yourself, including. But now, South Africans are also going to benefit from that. Not individual benefit. Comrades, we are in a deep crisis of unemployment. If there is no any industrialization, beneficiation here in South Africa, you must know that there is no any plan in place in the immediate by the current government to resolve unemployment. Load shedding, we are told every day we must celebrate. Every day we wake up, there is electricity, there must be a party. We have become an abnormal society that celebrates air. But no, today we are breathing, there's air, let's celebrate. No, but that's what we're entitled to. We're entitled to this electricity. It's not something we should be worried about. It should just be there. Electrify the whole of South Africa and electrify the whole of African continent. When we say drop borders, we mean that Eskom must go in. It is the only company in the whole African continent which can electrify this continent, and they all pay us as the owners of Eskom. So we cannot be told, hey, Nigerians have taken over the business of drugs. What do we do with business of drugs? We want the business of business, not business of drugs. So we have to make sure that we bring in a government that doesn't come in with baggage from CODESA. Because when you look at these elders, I had a privilege to sit with all of them. Nelson Mandela, Winnie Mandela, I know them. All of them know what must be done, but they're not doing it. Because someone is holding these guys somewhere. What is the point of putting parliament in Cape Town? What do you benefit from that except that there was an agreement in CODESA that no, Parliament will remain in Cape Town? What do you benefit from Parliament in Cape Town, President's house in Cape Town, Ministers' houses in Cape Town, Deputy Ministers' houses in Cape Town? If we relocate that to Pretoria, Centurion, or Midrand, I'm told there's a Chinese person here who owns a big portion of land in Centurion. We expropriate it. Because expropriation isn't it supposed to be for public interest? We expropriate it and build parliament here. No one gets build a house. Parliament is work. We're getting paid. Like all workers, let's go and look for our houses. Why are we being forced to stay in a parliamentary village? What if I want to stay in Guguletu? You now are forcing me, because if I don't use that house, I'm wasting state resources which were allocated to me. Leave parliamentarians to go find themselves houses. Many of ANC parliamentarians, by the way, won't have houses. That's how irresponsible they are. They don't have even now. After 30 years, they don't know where they are going when they are not on the list. That's why when they are not on the list, they cry like babies, because they're like, what's next for me? We need to save as much resource and rechannel it to our people. Why do we need provinces? Why is there a premier? To do what? I don't know what's the role of a premier. My councillor, what councillor, is actually more important than the premier. Because you know, if the sewer is blocked, that guy must make a plan. Come and unblock this. Call Panyaza and say, come and unblock. Now, in terms of government systems and protocols, there's province and local, and you're going to hear some English. Why do you have an MEC of education? To do what? Because education is national. Our children write the same question paper. There's no Gauteng question paper. The syllabus is national. There is no Limpopo syllabus. Even if it's Tsonga language, it's national. Those who are learning Tsonga in Gauteng, Shawela, they learn the same Tsonga in Limpopo. Same. What is this guy doing here? Except to be ceremonial. And that ceremonial thing comes with high cost for us as South Africans. We need a super metro called Gauteng. It must be a local council, the whole of Gauteng, with a mayor. Because we know what the mayor can do. We know what a councillor can do. This must become national straight to local. And then all of these people must go home. We'll rather have thousands of councillors, but we know what they are doing. We can call them, we can reach them, we know their houses, they are allocated to this area. So that which you see today, was also the CODESA agreement. And this was done in accommodation of the IFP. Because the IFP was refusing to participate in the election until they agree that KZN will be a province on its own. The ANC policy originally is a unitary state. It's not these sub-states that we're experiencing today, which have got no road. When that came, ANC saw an opportunity for patronage and said, now, at least instead of 400 people, there will be more in the province. And you know, in Limpopo legislature, when they go to a legislature meeting, they talk about it all over. They are shocked. Members of the legislature, real legislature, even if you didn't add. Because they go to legislature to do what? They never go there. Not because they abscond, because the legislature has got no purpose of meeting. Count how many members of provincial legislature are there in Gauteng, and how much are they getting, and what are they doing to benefit me, these people. Because the laws are passed in Cape Town. The laws are not passed here in Gauteng. We need to remove the provinces and reallocate those resources to the poor of the poorest. But as the biggest mistake which was committed in 1994 was to give us RDP houses. Madiba should not have given us RDP houses. Madiba should have given us free education. We're going to build our own houses. Because if you check the unemployment rate amongst graduates is very low, which is a scientific proof that education and employment and empowerment go together. We did not need the RDP houses. And these houses they are building for us, especially yourselves here, you ought to be educating our people. That it can never be called a house if it doesn't have a toilet. What is a house without a toilet? The only thing that we build without a toilet is a shack. Now, I've never found anyone saying, here is a shack with in-suit. No. Once they say a shack, then you must start looking for, okay, where do they go to help themselves? They give you glorified shacks and call them houses, and you celebrate them. No one questions that in Soweto, in Mamelodi, in Atteridgeville, in Seshego, in Umlazi, there were boycotts all over. People saying, we don't want matchbox houses. We want houses. We were looking at those houses which were given to poor white Afrikaners in town. We're saying, at least if we can have those, will be better. They came, gave us worse than what apartheid gave us. Worse than what apartheid gave us. Because Seshego's houses of apartheid are still standing. I can't say the same about RDP houses which were built in 1994. They've collapsed, all of them. But every time, that's why they kept so many millions of South Africans on social grants, because they must think that without these people we are nothing. We have to make education free of charge for all of us, white and black, rich or poor. Education cannot be a commodity. You can't buy education the same way you are buying bread. There must be a difference. Education is a right inherited from birth. Our grandmothers are teaching us at home. Our mothers are teaching us at home. They are not being paid. That is education. So why when we go to the state, now someone must be paid for us to be educated? We don't get started to be educated at school. We're educated at home, taught how to walk, how to speak. That's education which our parents owe it to us. And no one pays because we're entitled to that education. So why now when we grow up, it changes that now you must start paying to educate society. An educated society, it's a society that will not be intimidated by the ruling class. Today, those who are fortunate to work in the private sector, you get a white young girl joining the firm, put under your tutelage, train this person and all of that. Tomorrow when you come back to work, you are now reporting here. Okay, why am I reporting here? You are not questioning the authorities, by the way. You're just asking, why am I reporting here? You go back, man. This girl was empowered by me. I was the one who was teaching. Let me go and check your qualifications. She has matric. With all your fancy degrees, you are so comfortable reporting to a matricless Afrikaner young lady because you are scared of their parents. We want this government of the EFF to empower you so you can speak on your own that I'm not going to report to this matriculous. Stay near Zen. It's not going to happen. I've got this and this and this. I've gone to school. We cannot have a black middle class worshipping whiteness and scared of whites for no reason. Most of these people of white people are not educated. They threaten us with their skin. We think skin, white skin means success. And success is education. Only this government. That's why we've given you a weapon. Most of you are using in your firms. Every time they try to bully you, you say, I'm going to call EFF. And then everything changes. Imagine what we are doing for you now without being in government. How much we can do when we're in government. When we are ministers who can just walk into any factory and say, what is this now? So that's all we're asking you. You see the power of the EFF outside government. Imagine the power of the EFF inside government. That is the power that all of you need. There is no one, all of them combined, who is better than Floyd when it comes to the economy and the finances of South Africa. No one. You know, we don't have time. We'll tell you when we entered in parliament, we introduced that concept of illicit financial flows. Every time Floyd finishes speaking in the finance committee, they all argue with him and they don't say anything, by the way. When the thing finishes, they're like, hey, take us through, man. What is this? Send us notes, you know, on that point. No, but don't talk. Send me notes. I want to support that point. We are teaching them about the finance and the economy of South Africa, which they don't know. And we are not in government. They say Floyd is going to steal the money. I want Floyd in finance to steal the money. But I am finance in Ekurhuleni for more than a year. Never stole a cent. They cannot accuse any of the EFF MMCs in Nelson Mandela, in Johannesburg, in Ekurhuleni, in Mogale City, in eThekwini. They removed our MMC there. They can never accuse them of any wrongdoing. That's why the ANC, even when it was fighting with us in Ekurhuleni, they could never say we stole a cent. Because we don't steal money in the EFF. We built this organization from scratch with no budget. Today, it is the only political party that owns a property in the city center of Johannesburg, Winnie Madikizela Mandela House. You look at its activities, its organization, and all of that, you can see that with the little resources we have, we maximize and make an impact with those little. You've got posters everywhere. So if there was stealing of money, all of this was not going to be possible. I was telling journalists yesterday that we once did a rally at Orlando Stadium. And Muzwandile Masina said to me, oh, that stage. Yes, that was too much. It was too beautiful. I think that is 10 million. God, no, it's not 10 million. It was 1 million. What 10 million? What? It's not true. Because when you give them a quotation of 1 million stage, they say you missed the zeros. Add the zeros. Then, after giving you 10 million, they come and take 8 and leave you with 2. There's an ANC corrupt person who was, these people went to court to win a case, constitutional court, of 30 million against Gauteng government. Then they don't want to pay them even when they've got a court order. They say, no, but if you go to so and so, you can work this thing. You know, they went to this person. He says, no, let me go and check. We'll come back. When they come back, he says, no, money is doable. That thing they agreed. But you'll have to give us 20 million and take 10 out of 30. The Constitutional Court said, these people have done work. Pay them. But no, give us 20. What's going to happen to the money that I've spent doing this work? That's why most of our people here, young entrepreneurs, are doing business. But we don't know where they're going. We can't see any progress. Mara, I'm a businessman. I've got a tender. You've got a tender here. Behind you is Paul Mashatil. Let. The whole of Alexander Mafia is on your neck. Let. Pay. We have got no such history as the EFF. Because we believe with every little resource we have, if properly spent on social services of our people, it will have a meaningful impact. So we are here to say to you, there is nothing that we are suggesting which has not been practiced anywhere, including by apartheid government. They owned ESCOM. They owned Transnet. They owned Prasa. They owned Dinel. When we come in, it's not true that these things are not functioning. Those institutions, those government companies are working proper. They are being made to fail so that they can be privatized. Let me tell you about Prasa. Prasa hires, let's say, 10 locomotives from a private company. 10, they say, bring here. Then out of 10 locomotives, they pay 50 million. Then they take 6 of 10 and pack it. Don't use it. They go and put it aside and use 4 locomotives. And then they make 15 million after spending 50 million. Then they come to Parliament and say, this thing is not working. We spent 50 million. It brought 15 million. EFF, this is wrong. This is not working. You are eating the money. Everybody in South Africa up in arms, fighting. This thing is taking our money. They made it deliberately to fail so that they can win you over. And then they sell these things to themselves. All of you know that Trevor Manuel is a businessman. But you all don't know what he's doing. It's a businessman. But Trevor is involved in insurance companies. A lot of Transnet assets are insured by Trevor Manuel. But because it's insurance, it's not road construction, it's not an easy tender. Look, insurance, okay, I know. Yeah, no, it's understandable. You don't ask, but what is this? Can you imagine an insurance company that insures the assets of Transnet? We don't know what business Trevor is doing. But Trevor is being paraded as one of the most successful business people. So, we need to own our own state assets. That's where money can be made. If you deploy the best of the best, irrespective of their political affiliation. Are they South Africans? Do they have an ID? Do they have the necessary qualification? If the answer is yes, this is the rightful person. Politics is secondary. Politics, football. After joining Ritomo, which team do you support? Must never be a prerequisite for you to participate in the state. So, there is no state, anything. So, people like Brian, Coco and them, they refuse to participate in making these things to be dysfunctional so that they can be sold later. You are hired to come and collapse this thing. Then we buy it ourselves. How do you buy SAA with 54 rand? 54 rand. There is no peace in a single plane, Dr. Ndlozi. There is no piece, the smallest piece, in the smallest, smallest piece in the plane that costs 54 rand. This one is 54 rand, not in the plane. So to buy the whole plane with 54 rand, and people still say, no, let's give them chance. 54 rand. And then they completely fail. They come and say, we failed. But we told you before that this is not a good transaction. It's not going to work. No, this is anarchy, disrespectful. We fought with Pravin Gordhan inside parliament, went to disrupt him on the podium that you are selling our state. Oh, this is anarchy. The same Pravin comes and says, this was a wrong deal. Yeah, no, let's leave it. And then they leave it like that. It's no longer news, by the way. Oh, it's done. But in Nkandla, we still remember it today. Till today, we remember Fire Pool. Here is the asset, billions worth of assets sold for 54 rand. And our black brother Tsepo get used. Successful businessman in his own right allows his name to be destroyed by a political elite of the ANC who wants to steal SAA. Under those guys, SAA, if you thought SAA was a problem, just go and look at between that deal and now when they collapsed it. SAA was dysfunctional even when these guys were there. There's no one who catched an SA flight during that period and the flight left on time. If you are lucky, it's 2 hours delayed. Yet they say, no, there is now a private participant. This thing is going to be successful. It's not true that when it is private, it's inherently successful. Because there at the commercial court, they liquidate private companies every day. But there's no government company that gets liquidated there every day. So, of course, other things must be left to, individual businesses to run. But comrades, how do you say this individual is responsible to giving people electricity? We say, no, let's collapse Eskom generation of electricity. Rupert shall produce this electricity for you. It's an individual. They just wake up angry and just switches over. That's what we do with our farms, with our houses. That gate must be closed. Mama, what went wrong? I don't feel like it. Not today. So Rupert wakes up, Bambala says, not today. I don't feel like giving them electricity today. So, when we say the ownership of strategic means of the economy by the state, we mean exactly that. That there are certain things you cannot give to private individuals. How do you give railway lane to an individual? No. Today, there's no train that is going to move here. That's what they do. You cannot entrust that with an individual. We can entrust the locomotives with individual. That's fine. If you undermine us, we kick you out, we bring another one. But the asset, strategic asset, and what is painful is that we didn't build any railway lane. 30 years. We didn't build any city. 30 years. Everything else I'm speaking about here is from apartheid. There is no democratic city. We're told of a city going to that private airport. Lanseria, there's going to be this, and speed trains going to Venda and coming back. And we said, you are dreaming. He said, no, I'm allowed to dream. He agreed he was dreaming that time. I said, I'm allowed to dream. Today, There is no strategic asset that was built by this democratic state. We inherited everything from apartheid and made it dysfunctional and collapsed it. I grew up in a township in Sishiwu. We never had a problem of water. If water was not there in that township, is that day. Today, in Sishiwu, for them to have water, it's a call for celebration. And we thought it was in Sishiwu. Now it's here. In Midrand. In Santen. I always, become so happy when I see them there complaining they don't have water. No, we don't have water. You're like, hey, my guy. This is our daily life in the villages. Do you now have a feel of what our people are going through? Not that there is no water. The infrastructure is collapsed. It was not maintained. They will never build a bridge in Johannesburg. They are still driving on apartheid bridges. And what is good about bridges is that it's engineering. It tells you the lifespan of that bridge. They don't know when was it built. They don't know what is the lifespan of that bridge, whether it's still intact or not. They wait for it to shake. And then some white people must start tweeting, this thing is going to collapse. This thing is... Close it, close. Why did we reach the state of a bridge shaking? If we are a government that cares, when you come in, you look at the state asset, what is what, where is this and that. They have no idea. They want what is going to be paid through invoice tomorrow. That one, they will kill you. If the CFO's mother dies, and then he leaves, and there's an invoice, you must not come back. If this money is not paid, you must not come back. You have to abandon your mother's funeral to go and pay the invoice. They don't do that with service delivery. That if this bridge is not completed by this time, forget. No. They don't complete it by that time. They extend its lifespan and put more money. Look at Midupi. Midupi is costing billions of rands. Is still not being used optimally. Why? Chancellor House of the ANC is involved in the construction and building of Midupi Power Station and Kusile. Every time that tender comes to an end, no, there's this thing that must be fixed. How can Midupi have a structural problem in less than 20 years? The apartheid power stations are still standing. We are the ones who are demolishing them. They are still standing. Midupi collapses on its own in less than 20 years. And so much money has been spent on that. An educated black elite which knows these things allows them to happen. Because we are the ones who must be standing up and saying to our mothers in the villages, in the township, our fathers, our relatives, this thing has to stop now. Because if it can't stop now, if we don't stop it on the 29th, we must all accept our fate. That things are going to become worse, and we would have made it possible with our votes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President. We are now going to take hands for engagements. Sean, are you ready with the mic? Number 1, number 2, number 3. Yes, number 4 and number 5. Yeah. Let's just finish it once. 6, 7, 8. Thank you. 2 minutes rule. So don't give a speech. just be on point and precise. Thank you, number one.
Even CIC.
We want to see you.
Yeah.
We don't want agents.
CIC, I'm impressed with your speech. I've been following all your interview press conferences, and I must say I'm very impressed. But the problem I have, every time I tell my family, my friends that no, this time I'm going to vote EFF. Most of the people, they say, no, I know. Malema is lobbying to finance his lifestyle. If you vote EFF, there's nothing you're going to get. He's doing this using the poor in order to finance his lavish lifestyle. I was going on Twitter, and then when I go through that, somebody was posting all those things. The Malema, the kids, this so much and so much. So I said, no, this time I want you to convince me that no, this time I'm going to vote for EFF. But I know all these things might be not true. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Number two. Sean, faster. Yes.
Thank you, CIC. My name is Graham. I think you and I will deliver the keynote address on the funeral of Mr. Msibi. I was the advisor of Mr. Msibi. CIC, my question is based on two business that I'm in. I'm in the property development. My properties are based in Sandton, not far from Rivonia and East Road. I build properties, townhouses there. And then the issue of expanding, whereby I want to expand. Then there is vacant land that I try to approach. When I approach for the people to say, look, I want to buy the land, and then I'll engage with someone. Someone says, look, yeah, let's sit down and talk. And then I talk to the guy. The guy says, look, the land is available for 10 million. Then we agree to say, okay, look, 10 million is doable. Then later on, as I'm engaging the person, then from there later on, I get a call to say, no, actually the land, it owns by Mr. Kruger. Then Mr. Kruger weighs in, then Mr. Kruger is sitting in Pretoria. I call Mr. Kruger. Mr. Kruger says, no, look, the land is available. We can engage on 60 million. So those are the problems that we are facing in terms of where we need land to develop, but the land is not available. So that is the issue that we have, more especially in Sandton. In Sandton, there's no land that is available. All the land owns by Afrikaners and Chinese. That is the worst one. Then secondly, number two, I've got a farm in Balfour, whereby we also deal with the government. The government we have the partnership whereby I do pigs, then the government will come and borrow us probably maybe 10 pigs to produce them. Then later on, when they are 200 or 300, then the government will come and says, look, we want to take the pigs back, but at the same time, you need to pay a certain amount in order for you to save that partnership. That is the problem that I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Number three. Yes, Sean.
Good evening, Dr. Ndlozi, CIC, incoming President of South Africa. I just have two questions, CIC, and I'm telling myself here, I've got 2 minutes that I've set up for myself so that I'm going to finish. But before I start, there's that video of the other guy from the other organization of dollars where he's approached by someone and they are asking for a job and he said, just keep searching. The summary of it is that the person goes there with hope and leaves hopeless. I kind of felt like that when I relate my story to you, Dr. Ndlozi, when I came this morning. I hope I will not leave hopeless. But my question is on student debt, CIC. I read the manifesto, but there's no timelines. There are timelines on other issues on where they're going to be done. But when is the EFF, if it comes into power, going to erase all student debt? I'm a victim of student debt. UCT is taking me to court. because I owe them. So by the time I finish doing my master's at UP, I might be owing them $500,000 and have to pay that even before I build my grandmother's house. My last question is on what Martin Luther said about there being no justice without, there being no reconciliation without justice. And I've seen a video of you, CIC, making an apartheid judge apologize. And there are laws in Germany, for an example, that speaks directly to those issues of discrimination and racism. In South Africa, we have something called criminal injuria, and it's not very specific. That is why somebody can come and apologize for apartheid or colonization, or come and call us kafirs and not be punished. So what is the EFF going to do to address those issues of justice? And I know in Germany, they arrested a 103-year-old in 2022 who was 22 years then, during those times of the Holocaust. And so this is my question to say, what justice are we going to have? Because clearly that Truth and Reconciliation Commission was a circus. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Number 4. Yeah. Not in Tanga. We are going to dilute it, Doctor.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Greetings. Yeah, the name is Jerome. Two things that I'd want to ask. Firstly, say thank you for the presentation. You spoke, CIC, on infrastructural development, right? And one of the things, the area that I'm involved in is youth development. And oftentimes we take young people to public management spaces or civic leadership spaces or entrepreneurial spaces. And when we visit government spaces, so sewer in Pretoria, for example, that thing has not been serviced since the 1800s and the early 1900s. And very little gets said, and there's a lot of development happening, and I'm glad there's a brother talking about being involved in development issues. All the new developments, sewers go to same plants and have never been serviced in over 100 years. What strategies are in place for such things? Because we think of roads easily and not so much about where hygienic stuff go to. Last year we had BRICS, and there is BRICS Youth coming up. What connections and leverage is the EFF putting in place to enable young people to benefit from BRICS opportunities? Thank you.
5.
Yeah, thanks. Mine is going to be in twofold. One is the Chinese have actually are running almost everything on the industrial side of things. Manufacturing, production, you can think about almost everything that we can think about. We have lost our industrial hubs. We used to have industrial hubs in the East End, in the Val, in the central of Joburg and all that. What will be the EFF plan in terms of reviving those and ensuring that these SMMEs that are complaining about creating of jobs or not, that we find ourselves now getting to par, because they're already advanced now. I mean, if you can try to come up with whatever revolutionary plan or innovative plan, we might find ourselves lagging behind. Because even if you think of procuring toothpicks, you can get them on Temu, you can get them in Chinese center and all those kind of things. I mean, if I want to open even a toothpick manufacturing company, I'm going to compete with the Chinese, and I might not win from a pricing point of view. That's number one. Number two, because of the industrial hubs are so overburdened, SARS and the production lines in the country, they're coming so hard with, towards the SMMEs in terms of getting as much as they can, to an extent that even if you can try to do business, you'll be left with nothing. So what will be the EFF, plan or ideal model of ensuring that the tax burdens also does not necessarily disadvantage those that are starting and coming that level? Because, we are really swimming, some of us who are in the manufacturing space, business-wise and all that, because they'll almost take everything because of They keep on changing the laws. They don't need anyone to make a comment. Tomorrow, on Monday, you can wake up, put some changes on the tax legislation having changed to take even the little 50 rand that we have to finance the non-performing production lines in the country. Those are the two things that I wanted to check.
Thank you very much. Number 6. There's a lady here. Matotan. Wait, Sean, bring that mic here. We are diluting the patriarchy. We'll come back, leader. We are just obsessed with women participation.
Greetings, Mr. Incoming President of the Republic of South Africa. So my name is Zintle Putin, and I do not have questions. I'm going to be short, even though I'm tall. I do not have questions, but just like input. I feel like when it comes to the issue of graduates not getting jobs, we're not very intentional about solving it. We always say, well, there aren't jobs in the market, and then we leave it at that. I think we need to start being more intentional because there is a skills mismatch, which is why some of these graduates that we have are not employable. So we need to be intentional about that, even if it means like there has to be, like a committee that will do research to find out what's the issue, what does the market needs, and also our tertiary education system seems to be a little bit outdated. So we need to also work on that because we can't be relying on a syllabus of 1994 when the issues that our country is facing today need like modern education. So that's one. And then number 2, on the issue of public transport, I take issue incoming presidency when it comes to how the issue of public transport is addressed. We never make emphasis on it. It's as if it's not important. Transport is as crucial as water and power. You cannot run an economy on a dizzy public transport system. So we have to be intentional on improving that. And also, it will also not only improve productivity in terms of economy, but also it will help with our tourism. We have a beautiful country, but it is so hard to access some of these places. And if we have an efficient, national public transport system, everybody will easily access all these places that are touristic that can also add to our economy. That's that. Thank you.
Excellent. Number 7. We skipped that guy there in the corner for. Yeah. Can we? Yes. Thank you.
Good evening, CIC. My question is on the state of NSFAS. I had a business which I decided to close shop in 2021. I was one of the key players in the education space with regards to procurement and printing of educational textbooks, which is a niche market to which very few people do in this country. 2019, Blade came into power within the higher education space. So much changed. Some of it seemed to be for the better. The disbursement of NSFAS funded students used to be administrated by a third party. A speech was given that what's supposed to be benefiting students is shared, with service providers and all of that. As a result, that needed to be taken away. We were happy to receive that, but we have seen recently, the image of another service provider with very controversial practices that actually was just another image of the previous service provider, just in a different mask. Currently, we have seen in recent times, the NSFAS was put under administration. The CEO of NSFAS was also fired, I think, 6 months ago or something. So at the moment, universities who are the custodians that are managing millions in funds of private funders and private donors that are disbursing funds directly to the universities that are trusted by parents and all of that are paying their monies for their kids to study directly to university. Why is NSFAS an exception? Why is NSFAS money not disbursed directly to the institution to administrate them for the best interest and do away with all the middle class that are currently costing the learners in this country? I want to know the EFF's position on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President.
Thank you very much. I think it was a wrong decision to accept this 5 o'clock engagement, because I'm looking at the time now is 5 to 7. But I'll try and be brief with the hope that I'm dealing with educated people who, in their own space and time, will go through the EFF. You gave them copies. The EFF manifesto is the only manifesto that goes into detail of how this will be done and when and all of that. So, my brother, what I'm saying now, I said this when I was, to be safe, president of COSAS, Congress of South African Students. I demanded free education. I demanded stopping of corporal punishment. I demanded that all kids must get school books and textbooks for free. I demanded that we should have people who are qualified to lead our schools, not on the basis of their proximity to SADU, but on the basis of their qualification. And COSAS was related to the ANC. It's not a structure of the ANC. COSAS, and I don't know why they always make that mistake to think they're a structure of the ANC. They are not a structure of their, they were formed on their own. So, I started this battle that I'm talking about today. Then, there was no lifestyle that I was pursuing or anything of that sort. I was an activist. I was a political activist. And I grew with these things into the Youth League, where I demanded all of this. I was not doing it because I'm running a political party for you to vote for me to finance my lifestyle. I was not running a political party. I was in a party advocating for this. And we came here in Midrand in 2011, in the biggest conference of the ANC ever held. In the whole of the ANC ever held by the ANC, because that Youth League conference at Galaga was the biggest. That's how much we had mobilized the youth of South Africa and directed them towards the economic freedom in our lifetime. We had a march, a historic march that was never done anywhere. There's never been a protest march for those kilometers, where we marched from Pretoria from Johannesburg to Pretoria to demand jobs and economic emancipation for the people of South Africa. All of that, I was doing it in a party, not because someone must vote for me to be president of South Africa. I was doing it because I believed that if the ANC takes these decisions, then South Africa will change for the better. And we won that battle. We took it from Midrand. We took it to eThekwini NGC of the ANC, where the ANC took a decision that we must expropriate land without compensation because of the resolutions of the Youth League in 2011. We influenced decisions of that NGC on every aspect. And that's where Zuma and them realized, if these people can win resolutions, it should be easy for them to win leadership against us and remove us. Then, when we took these resolutions here in Galaga, Tony Ngeni came to my house and I had a house in Sandton. Because I believe that our struggle is not to keep our people in Alexander. It's not. Our struggle is to bring our people. Our struggle is to bring our people next to where the resources are, not away from the resources. So, Tony again came to my house and told me, with those resolutions, you're going to be expelled if not killed. And one of those things came to happen. So, the accusation that I do this to finance my lifestyle is necessitated by the fact that you can't falter me politically. And you start splitting hair and trying to find fault with him. He doesn't have a degree, woodwork, what, I fix that. I fix that. And then you come with this, I fix that. Where I'm wrong, I accept and I fix. They say you're overweight, I fix that. So I have no problem. Because they tried this and that and this and that. Because the people who are saying to his financing his lifestyle, ask them the question, do you love Nelson Mandela? The answer is going to be yes. And ask them, what is it that Malema is doing which Nelson has not done? Nelson stayed in Houghton from prison. I don't stay in Sandton from prison. Mandela stayed in Houghton from prison. His spokesperson is here. Mandela spokesperson, Carl Neus. Where he got the money to buy the house in Houghton, nobody speaks about that. Nobody speaks about that. I owned the first property in a place called Stark Park. When I was a secretary of the Youth League, provincial secretary, when I came in, I bought a piece of land for 200,000 or so through the bank, financed by the bank because I was working now. And first year, I never wasted time. I knew I've got no appointment with poverty. This I'm going to confront head on and fight. How old was I in the Youth League? I think 26 or so. When I became the Youth League. No, that's the president. In 26, secretary. No. The Youth League president I became when I was 26. 26. 4 years before that. No, 5 years I had served as the Youth League secretary, which is, I was 21, 22 when I became the secretary of the ANC Youth League. Never took my money to alcohol. Took it to my grandmother and looked after my child and looked after myself. With the little I was getting. That's why I explained to you, every little cent must have a meaning. From that time, I knew poverty and I said, I'm not going to live like this. Whatever little I get, I'll make use of it. I owned that property while renting somewhere. After 2-3 years, that property was worth 650,000. Sold it. Stark Park was becoming some flashy, big place in Polokwane. It still is. Sold it. Paid the bank 650. Paid the 200 of the bank. Remained with 450. Took 400 to go and deposit my house, which was 1 million rent in Flora Park. And I ate 50,000 nicely, angel. I peke swante ke kwa mata ke. Ke bereki. From there, I worked, serviced that bond. Then bought a house in Sandton when I became the president of the Youth League. Then I was financed by ABSA. The first one was financed by Nedbank. At least not yet. The second one, I don't remember who financed me. And then, this one of Santana, I'm sure, was financed by ABSA. All kinds of ANC leaders you could think of gathered in that house. It was just an ordinary house of 3 bedroom, 1 in suite and the rest 3 bedroom, and then there's a common bathroom. Any leader of the ANC you can think of was always there. And they were like, hey man, you know when we sleep here, the problem is that we meet each other in the morning to the bathrooms. We need to renovate this house. They all brought money together. Remember, I'm too young, I'm 26. They brought the money together, themselves, and then demolished my house and started building a house there. It was built, that house, by ANC leaders, not me. Not me. That bond I'm telling you about, I'm still paying it now. So I can account for everything of mine. It's just that some things are over-exaggerated. I mean, there used to be a story here when we were renovating that house. Dr. Ndlozi, for sure you were still in, where were you during that time? They were saying in that house there is a bunker. And gullible people of South Africa believed that. Believed that. That this guy is building a huge house with a bunker. And this bunker goes this way, is going to come out from the airport. I'm like. Then SARS came. And SARS said, hey, my guy, what is this renovation you are doing? I'm like, huh? It's not me. It's these guys, but they are doing it for you. Whatever happens, it's you who's going to benefit from this. You owe us. I went to the same people. There was no problem. They added those things of penalty and what those who have declared donations. I went to them. I said, you remember that money you brought there to build that house? It's causing me trouble. Here's the tax bill. You must pay. You have to pay. So, these old people around me have always taken care of me. Because I was in the youth league, I was in COSAS, I grew up in the eyes of these guys. So, there's nothing. That's why I speak the way I speak. That's why I do whatever I do, because I'm not scared anyone can come with some skeleton and say, yeah, we finish you off. They tried that when I was a baby. They won't do it now. Now SARS send a letter. I will not miss it by a second. Because I know SARS is a weapon that can be used to destroy you by your political opponents. And because it raises legitimate issues, but it gets used wrongly. You're owing them. SARS will never come saying you don't owe them. If you don't owe them, you owe them. They will come. But why should SARS be so aggressive instead of making you to be compliant? This. No. SARS has got a law. You pay now and argue later. Where will you pay? Where will you get the money? They use that then to destroy you. Because it's pay now, argue later. They destroy you. There will never be an argument later because that is court. That is court. Then they auctioned my house because these guys couldn't raise the money and all of that. Auctioned it live on television. I'm the only person whose houses were auctioned live on television. Trying to humiliate me. Now, after they did that, a person goes and buy that house in public, right? They say, no, he's sent by me. I don't know the guy. And now I start investigating. Why do they say I sent this guy? This guy comes from Seychelles. What a coincidence. They're like, I've never met the guy, he even passed on. Never met him, but no, he was sent by me to go and buy the house. And people believed that this guy can go with 3 million and give this guy to go and buy that house. And people of South Africa are like, no, man. What do you mean? So they tried with all of those things of lifestyle audit. Mashaba says who must do lifestyle audit. SARS conduct lifestyle audit on everyone. They don't even care about whether you agree or not. They just send you a questionnaire and say, yeah, answer all of this. And if you don't make sense, they come for you. So we don't need Mashaba's lifestyle audit. We've got institutional mechanisms already to do that. My brother, the property in Sandton, I'm even shocked you saying it's owned by Afrikaners, because I thought it was the Jewish people who make the property available in public. You go and make a bid, and then you sign offer to purchase. Once they discover it's you, black men, they cancel and withdraw that thing from advertisement. And then it will circulate like they withdraw it a bit, and then they come back again until there is a right person to buy it. Now you say you've got 10 million, you sign the offer to purchase, they start investigating, they're like, okay, he can get 10 million this one. Remember, these are the people who own banks. They've got access to all our finances. They say, no, he can get 10. No, this is a real owner. But they know you can't afford 60, but no, 60. So what I said about Soweto, they use money to keep racism in property, because they know black people cannot afford. That's why I'm saying, let's take this land. And because this is the idling land, you want to use it. And man, he says, no, you can't until you give me 60 million. We have to take that land, so you come to us and say, this thing makes sense. We say, no, go and build there. There's no problem. This person has got a purpose to use this land for, when you have been idling with this land forever. So the land expropriation is inspired by those things that you guys want to farm, want to be property developers. The land is more expensive than the property itself that stand on that land. I mean, to get a land in Sandton is very difficult, and it's done deliberately through money to keep black people out of Sandton. I don't know. You said the farm is that Mpumalanga? Yeah, I think it's Mpumalanga. So we may want to ask Colin to make a follow-up on this one of pigs, because I'm also in farming. So what they do, in Limpopo, they used to give us the Nguni females, and then maybe 10, and then give you one male, and leave you for a particular period, I think 5 years. After that, they ask for their females back and their male. Then you continue with what came from their females. So there was no paying of anything. They gave you 10 cows, you must bring back 10 cows after 5 years. So they never said, you bring 10 cows back plus money. No, that sounds very dodgy. Because the aim is to enable you to enter farming. Yet you don't have money, so the state is supporting black farmers to be professional farmers, but they need the tools. So you can't give the tools and say, no, I actually borrowed you, pay me. No, it sounds very dodgy. So it's an interesting story that we need to follow up. You know, the president failed that Tintswalo when he said, keep searching for a job. Because the president should have outlined what programs are there. There is this, there is this, there is this. The president doesn't know the plans, because the plans do not exist. How do you say to an old man who says, I want a fridge, buy me a fridge? Say, where were you working? I was working here. Go and tell them to buy you a fridge. Which leader says that? Because the president can't say, I will buy you a fridge. I accept that. But the president will say, Mbuyiseni, fridge. You talk about the fridge. It's a very important aspect. Mbuyiseni understand the language that he must buy the free. You assign someone there, right there. Because he moves around, by the way, this door to door with business people and all of that. Just say, help the old man. The old man meets a president. The young woman meets a president. The fact that you came into contact with president, something must give. Motho uno tsena ka nko aba tsamaya ka nko. I don't know anything. Ugabari has never been here. Because that's what he did in Amanskral. He goes there, people die of cholera. He goes there, he's pretending to be caring. He left Amanskral till today. That Royfall thing has not been fixed. If anything, situation is worse. How can the press... You don't go if you don't have a plan. You first work on a plan. And then you go there because you've got a solution. You go there because you've got a solution. You go like you are listening and listening. You see what's going to happen? Minister of Water, I want this. I want... It's not true. They told him we are going to do 1, 2, 3. Let's go. But he goes there. He doesn't know who's going to do what. You're just going to see them. The president overborn. No, the president, once he has stepped in here, done. Our problems are solved. And the problems of Hammanskral are simple. The Royval water treatment plant's budget has been stolen by individuals. A tender was given. Money has been paid. The product is not there. I become a president or a deputy president or anything of that sort. I take that project. I even establish a site office. I go there twice a week. We have to finish this thing. You monitor it yourself because you went there. I'm going to be visiting. And Hammanskral is not Giyani. It's next to the Union Building. What stops the president from making a turn at Hammanskral to check if there is progress? People are dying of cholera before he goes to his office. You clear my diary. I'm going to run this program for the next 3 months. We're going to complete this thing. And if we don't complete this, heads are going to roll. So, because he's an executive president. The rest, the so-called minister of this, those things are nothing. They are assistants of the president on education. Assistants of the president on finance. The man in charge, it's him. That's why you can fire anyone. And he requires no reason to fire you. Not so saying, I cancel. No more minister. Wednesday, it doesn't have to explain. I tell you to come and fix this thing of water treatment plant, you don't do it. You don't do it. It's fine. We shall release you in the morning through a statement. We don't even tell you. Just release a statement. It's done. There's no labor court, no CCMA. Student debt, there's no what do you call it? Time frame. Because it's done immediately. It's part of the presidential speech that all of the student debt must be cancelled. Why does it need 5 years or anything? We are fighting every day now, demanding that the student debt must be cancelled. We even sponsored a bill, we said, about the cancellation of the student debt in parliament. Now, before we became government, the ANC used its majority and rejected it. We sponsored a bill to insource cleaners, to insource security guards, so that we can improve their lives. ANC rejected it. My biggest problem with security guards is that our fathers come and work here. And they work as security guards at the Joburg municipality, at the gate for 30 years. He comes back with nothing. And then kwa Limpopo, when you come back with nothing, they say, "Ba mo jile basadi ba mathosa." Kwa magwe. Ba mo jile. But that is not true. That is not true. The guy has worked at the gate of the municipality for 30 years without a pension fund. Why? Every 3 years a new company comes in. They exchange with this old man from one company to the other, from one company to the other. By the time he retire, this company is actually 6 months. But what do you want? Us? No wish. Then he packs his things. He comes back home. We say he was useless. He was never useless. There were no pension funds. There was no medical aid. There were no leave days. There was no job security. Once you go on leave, when you come back, someone is there. Someone is there. There is no guarantee. So, the ANC rejects that. The ANC rejects insourcing cleaners, which are cleaning in government offices. Our argument is that these people are working with us. They are cleaning MEC's office. We don't even know the owner of that company. We know this good cleaner. Why can't we have a direct relationship with this cleaner without a middleman? So, we have to correct that when we take over power. And we also propose now, and I'm happy everyone now is talking about it. When we started it, they were saying it's a crazy idea. We said we need to give graduates jobs. If we can't give them jobs, we must give them a grant. Because they can't go to school only to come back to earn 350 like the rest of other people who have not gone to school. We must say education pays, and it must pay in a literal meaning. And they say, where will the money come from? Where? There are not so many graduates. Not so many. We can take care of them with reprioritizing our priorities. Like I told you of Cape Town, I told you of provincial governments and all of, you redirect all of that to benefit the needy, and those are the graduates. A graduate has to prove, the same way people prove when we give them 350, that they've got any means of income. A graduate has to prove over a period of time that indeed I've been trying here, I applied here, I went interview here, and there must be that database of graduates where the government, when a person says, I need 10 people for this, the government must go on database and say, but the people are here. Withdraw and give him. We don't even know our graduate. I don't know where the mismatch of skills come from, because we don't know this graduate. We don't know who are they. We don't know their qualifications. We don't know them. These people, there must be a database. And it must be hosted by that Department of Tulas of Employment. Because his department is supposed to be looking for jobs and placing people. It's useless. I went here at Waterfall the other day at the restaurant where they were saying they are hiring foreigners and what. Hey, let me go and see what's happening. And typical leader of African people, I go there unprepared. The guy says to me, here are the posts, my guy. The people employed here, this is the percentage. South Africans oversubscribed, no problem. But he says, I need 10 for all my restaurants, chefs. I've been advertising. It's not coming through. But I'm happy you're here. If you can give me 10 chefs, I don't even have to interview them. They come from the CIC take. I still haven't submitted. Monalo Kuwar, no problem. Give me. I've been advertising. Give me. And then these people who are applying with this are from outside. I'm holding this back. With that understanding that you are saying to me. So I'm trying to find. I was supposed to go to the database and find the chefs on the government database where chefs graduate and register there. When he says to me, I need 10 chefs I've been advertising, he says, you are lying. You were supposed to search here. This is where we find our people. There's no such a platform. There's no such a platform of rapists. People rape, get sentenced, go to jail, come back from prison to become teachers, primary teachers. Because no one can trace these guys that this is a rapist. Must not be brought anywhere to a girl child. Because once we start doing that, then people know this has got future and serious implications. Worse, your name is in public. Forever is there. People know the kind of crimes you committed, especially the crime of rape. We cannot issue such a simple database. Simple database. We have a child who goes to a no-fee school. This child goes to university, get NS. When he arrives, primary, no-fee school. Secondary, no-fee school. When he arrives at tertiary, they want registration fee. Throughout, they've been saying you are poor, go to this free school. We even give you a feeding scheme. We even give you food parcels. But what makes it worse is that my mother is a beneficiary of SASSA. SASSA, which is the state, which the state is supposed to plug all these SASSA beneficiaries on the university database. So, because when you arrive there, they want your parents' ID. When they punch it, it must say SASSA beneficiary. Automatically, this child qualifies to come in. But they don't have that data. They don't have a data of patients. You go to a hospital in Tembisa, you've got these allergies, they get identified, no problem. You don't take this medicine, you leave. You go to Val. You collapse in Val. You can't speak to tell them what are your allergies. They inject you with those allergies. But if there was a database, they go in there, it gives your medical history. Why? For 30 years, technology, IT graduates are there who can do this thing. But they're not being used because they are eating from the files. No, file this, file that. So, we really need a government of thinkers which is going to appreciate that every graduate must be accounted for. You know what is painful for me is that, at university, when you apply for NSFAS, they say, where's the parents, my father died, this. They say, no, bring the death certificate. How, or we're going to affidavit. How can government not know that my father died when they issued a death certificate? They are the ones who certified my father dead. They come and say, I must prove that he's dead. I must prove that they said he's dead. There will never be justice, my brother. There will never be reconciliation without justice. This thing we're demanding of the land is justice. That's simple. The economy must be in the hands of the people because it was robbed from them. And the EFF government will prosecute apartheid agents. We know them. We know the operators of Flag Plus. We are going to go after them. And that's what they don't want. That's why they don't want the EFF. They know these ones are going to give us a problem. Where are those judges that were hanging people? No one speaks about them. No one dares to write about them that this one was a hanging judge. A hangist of note. And that's justice. That's justice to go and look for these people. So, my brother, sewer treatment, water treatment plant, infrastructural maintenance, all of that is what you need. Not only for infrastructural development, for job creation. You will never create jobs if you don't turn this country into a construction site. That's the only way you're going to create jobs. How do you have the whole province, the whole year, or 5 years worse, you have never built a single road? One. You have never asked us that there's going to be some maintenance, we are going to close water, so that you can take out asbestos pipes and put proper pipes to avoid leaks. You've never done that. The only time there is no water is not because you are doing anything. It's because the infrastructure collapsed. Not because you are maintaining it. BRICS, they don't want us there, by the way. The EFF, when there is any BRICS activity. So even if we say we've got these plans of the youth in terms of BRICS, once you saw a red beret, but not here. So they always excluded, not the BRICS countries, the state of South Africa, which we have to go as part of. They say, no, not these ones. But the BRICS idea is a very good idea that we must support, where we create alternative economies and alternative markets, and we can trade amongst ourselves. And that's where the proper discussion about de-dollarizing can take place. And that's a platform where we can neutralize America's influence over the world. It's unfortunate, the tariffs, we have to charge extremely crazy tariffs for anything that is going to come from outside South Africa if we want to support, in fact, industries in South Africa. If there is an industry like a chicken industry, and you allow AGOA to come and dump chicken in South Africa, then chicken industry will never grow. Since AGOA, our chicken industry closed down. Why? In America, they only eat white meat of the chicken, like chicken breast and this thing that you over celebrate here, say chicken wings, they don't eat those things then. They don't want. Things like chicken wings, including the skin. Now the skin of the chicken gets sold. They don't eat the skin. They don't eat the chicken feet. They don't eat the inside. They don't eat the head. All of that get wrapped and dumped here in South Africa, effectively at no cost, because they don't lose anything. They were going to throw them away. So you can buy them for any amount. When you go around saying you are buying pieces of chicken, those are the things from there which they've rejected. They come get sold here. They sell chicken feet. Like, they sell them because they get them close to nothing, and they sell them to us at a lower cost. When you produce chicken here in South Africa, you can't meet that. So we need to relook into that AGOA and say, what are the sectors of the AGOA which are threatening small industries in South Africa which have got potential to create jobs? So we need to charge very high tariffs, get customs to work at the airport so that we avoid these counterfeits that are entering our country and undermining our industrial development. I mean, textile industry in the Western Cape was big, was one of the biggest. Even in my township, we had a firm, a factory of producing clothes, textile factory in my own township, which hired a lot of people. Closed down. Closed down. We can revive it by not fighting with the Chinese, by saying to them, no problem, when you bring those things to us, you are going to pay so much to get them. No, not you even. The one who's bringing it into our country, the one who's inside our country bringing things from outside, we charge you a crazy tariffs interest. So much that when you put a price on that item you brought from outside, it's too expensive. And ours is able to rise. That is the only way. We don't fight with China. We're like, no, we're trading together. It's no problem. Where now you go and buy from China when? With these things of online. When you enter there, there is no hair which is going to enter there. If we have hair here, we can do those things of hair here. You bring hair. You are going to pay more so that those ones who produce local, they are reasonable and cheap and people buy from them. That's how you support your own industries. So that's how we aim to revive our industries and our textile industry in particular. We have no issue with the Chinese. We have a problem with the people who are in South Africa who buy from China to undermine our own economy. People must be forced to buy South Africa. And that is the only way we're going to make sure we support our own local. SMMEs are close to our heart because those are creators of jobs. The more SMMEs you have, the more receptionists you have, the more this you have, the more messengers you have, there has to be tax incentives for SMMEs because they cannot be charged the same percentage as the mining company and they are called corporate tax. There has to be a difference between a big industry and a small industry, and we say when you reach this bracket this way, then we can amend you to go to fall into this other category. But just from when you start, they are here on your neck. You haven't declared. Declare what? I haven't got anything. I didn't get any job the whole year. And SMMEs that goes and business that goes and open their industries and factories in the areas outside Gauteng, there has to be incentives. Because we have to depopulate this place. It's going to become a nightmare very soon. We have to depopulate this place. And you depopulate it by decentralizing the economy. Why would someone want to leave Messina if there is an economic activity in Messina? They will stay there and do their own thing there. So we have to make sure that we decentralize the economy, we bring in efficient public transport. You know, to move from Soweto to Sandton, if you work in Sandton and you stay in Soweto, it will take you 3 hours to come in here. Because there is no reliable public transport and the traffic is jammed. If you go to Soweto during weekends, you will regret why you went there. You can't move. Now, what is so difficult about going to China and say to them, come build a speed train for us there and operate it? We don't want anything from you. We engage in BOT. Build it. Operate it. But after 30 years, transfer it to us. Imagine if we had asked that intervention on our power station in 1994. Those things will be transferred to us this year. Why are you so obsessed who's building it? Build it. You want to build it? Build it. Charge them. No problem. We are going to agree on how you go about it. It's okay. There are laws in South Africa and all of that. What is my immediate interest? My immediate interest is to supply my people with a reliable public transport. Then I build a speed train between Johannesburg and Musina. It takes an hour. Remember, Soweto takes 3 hours. Now imagine a speed train from Polokwane drops me in Sandton in 1 hour's time. Lega sambonam, ke bereka from high. Aki chaisha mo ke a speed train ke boela morao. It's safe, it's home, it's cheaper because when I stay here, I run 2 homes. I can run 1 home with a reliable public transport. Why haven't we not built speed train, but we built Gautrain? And Gautrain is not transporting our people. It's even those roads, the way they go, where Gautrain goes, you know, it's not shame. By loading airport, but barna by yaka ekaingi. Barbana mele Gautrain by airport, by a guy airport. Eh, boy a guy airport. But to ba Johannesburg CBD, Soweto. Johannesburg CBD, Soweto. Pitori, Orange Farm, Mamelodi. Go where our people are and give them reliable transport. And then you must subsidize the taxis. The taxis are not being subsidized. The only way we're going to professionalize this industry of the taxis is when we give it money. And when they talk too much, we're like, we'll withdraw this money. What do I say? This is how you're going to behave. You go this way, this way. We don't have a problem of buses. No one can bully the state from buses because we subsidize them. Once you buy a bus, you're already getting a subsidy. So we need to finance the taxis so that we control them. We professionalize it. We also regularize the salaries of taxi drivers because they are paid according to the feeling of the owner. Sometimes they beat them up. You scratched it here. For the next 3 weeks, you are not getting a salary. So we need to regulate the industry so that it also contributes to efficient public transport. And as far as, I wanted to talk about e-tolls. You know, we told you in 2014 that e-tolls must go. Dalimpof was even a premier candidate here in Gauteng for the EFF. He went demonstrating there. Aro katadi chipije gam trisa chwerin sagar. When the EFF takes over, we're going to cut these things. 10 years ago, Dalimpof went and said these things must fall and fall in a literal way. 10 years after, Panyaza is standing next to the e-tolls with a countdown. Hey, we've worked. But we said this 10 years ago that this is wrong. Because the EFF is 10 years ahead of all of them. They are all tailing behind the EFF. My sister, tourism is another way we're going to create a lot of jobs. How this state is not supporting tourism, I don't understand. Reliable public transport, but equally, we need to support tourism. Tourism, it has got tour guide, it has got a driver, it has got a waiter, it has got a receptionist, it has got cleaners. You know, there are so many jobs that are easily available to our people. Easily, we train them easily, done, let's go. Imagine what tourism can do in Mpumalanga. Kruka is the only rural province where a plane, big plane, goes and land there, full of white tourists. Full. And then all of them are going to sleep in white-owned hotels. The transport, that's not shuttle, that one they use for safari is white. White. Why can't you just say, we're going to get 10 black-owned companies to provide those safari cars? What is that? Because until I give van, there is nothing special about that thing. Give van, they put those steel thing. Sometimes, if you are lucky, there is a sailor when it rains. What is that? Because our people are driving buggies every day. What's special about that? But that is owned by a white man. White men. 10 buggies. Each one of you give us 10. Let they be B&Bs and all of that in White River, in Nelspruit, Hoedspruit, all of those areas where the tourists are going. And deliberately, as a government, promote black-owned. Because those people, when they come, they ask our own tourism, what are the areas to visit? Which places can we sleep in? They are guided by our tourism. Every province has got a tourism department. But it gives them direction into white establishments. Because no one is there to subsidize you establishing a proper B&B and babysit that dream and make sure this becomes a success. It will succeed in many other places. No, that has to go. The Kruger statue has to go. Like any other apartheid symbol. I mean, we are the only ones that have got a statue in each and every town of an apartheid general. Every town. The people that oppressed us are displayed in public to be celebrated for oppressing us. And we put them there. There is Kruger statue. Is it Kruger in Pretoria? Kruger. We had nice plans to collapse that thing. At night, the ANC had and went to erect a fence there to protect a statue of Kruger. That one of Kruger National Park is a bit difficult because I agree you have to go at night. And that Kruger, there might be those things. You may not even be shot by anyone. The things are waiting for you there. So you can't take that risk. That one we have to remove it officially like we did with Cecil John Rhodes at University of Cape Town. And as far as my brother, it's a mess. We don't even want to go there. EFF manifesto is very clear. Let the money go directly to the institutions of learning. This university, I know how many children it can take. It's my university. It's a state-owned institution. I know. Now, if each student must be financed by 100 rand and there are 10, I'll give you 1,000. Because I know in that university I've got 10. Each allocation is here. Listen to that beautiful argument. Why affording parents are not paying NSFAS for NSFAS to pay university for their children? Affording parents pay directly to the university. Government is paying for me. Why? Government is my parent. Why is government not doing like this private parent who pays directly to the university and pay for Julius Malema? Why? They can't do it because there must be a middleman. And that middleman is related to the Communist Party of Blade Nzimande and finances the Communist Party. And you picked it up correctly. Then there was a mess around this person. No, go. They remove him and then bring him through a back door in a different name to continue the financing of the Communist Party. Now they realize, no, this appointment of this and that is not working. Let's take it directly. Yes, now put it under administration. Because under administration means now he's got control over that money without any due process. Let the university monies be paid directly to universities and not through any other agent. And NSFAS must close down. There's got no role to play, nothing. Treasury must allocate the same way as allocating other departments. These institutions are the departments of the state. Let the state finance them directly. When they take money from Treasury to the Department of Health, they don't give some agent to come and give the Department of Health. Why is it different when it comes to institutions of higher learning? Because these institutions of higher learning are state-owned. Let the state be responsible for that. So our biggest problem with tenders is exactly that. That we've got this middleman all over, even where it is not necessary. I mean, you get a tender advertised to buy toilet paper. Toilet paper. There's a big tender. A 20 rand toilet paper gets sold for 150 rand. If you are lucky. Because it can be 1,000 rand. Yeah, it can be 1,000 rand. If you are lucky, they will give it to you by 150. Otherwise, it can be 1,000 rand. I mean, look at those checks that Stan Matabata built in Zanin during COVID. Each one of them was costing us what? 500,000 mukuku. And then he went to open the checks. Those checks he did during COVID when they were saying they are placing homeless people. Build the checks. Paid thousands of money and put a ribbon to go and cut them. Because a tender was given to one of them. That's a problem with the tender system. Thank you very much. I'm not going to sit down. Please allow me from here to just leave. Because I'm speaking again at the Sandton Convention Center. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Come and do the vote of thanks quickly, then we close. Yeah, we have a branch here. Respect the leadership.
Thank you very much for all of business people, professionals, people around Midrand who came here to listen to the manifesto of the EFF from the CIC, and to also, to some who don't know, Midrand 112 is the number one branch of the EFF in the whole country. It gives EFF 4,400 during national elections. So we are expecting to even get more this time around. I thank you.
Thank you very much for being with us. The chair have already thanked you. We have snacks and all those things outside. Without any further ado, thank you for coming. Our meeting is officially closed.
Well, these are the people who deal.
Well, we're in Soweto. The message is simple. We're calling on all
Those
young
who said
people.
the EFF would not reach this milestone.
We have arrived.
No traffic cop will stop us. No police.
And you all know. Well, these are the people who deal.
Well, we're in Soweto. The message is simple. We're calling on all
Those who
young
said
people.
the EFF would not reach this milestone.
We have arrived.
No traffic cop will stop us. No police.
And you all know. Well, these are the people who deal.
Well, we're in Soweto. The message is simple. We're calling on all
Those who
young
said
people.
the EFF would not reach this milestone.
We have arrived.
No traffic cop will stop us. No police.
And you all know. Well, these are the people who deal.
Well, we're in Soweto.